Somebody said if you don't like playing with LeBron, you wouldn't like playing with Kobe. Bro, you guys got to stop these narratives, man. It's not that I didn't like playing with Bron, you guys. And, I don't want to go into detail about it. Some of y'all comments just be so asinine. Like when I was in Cleveland and I was a young player, I had no idea Bron was going to come back.
Kyrie Irving just dropped a bombshell that could potentially shake one of the biggest legacies in basketball history. And the wildest part? He did it with just one sentence on a random live stream. There was no press tour, no exclusive sit-down interview, nothing fancy, just raw, unfiltered truth slipping out while the camera was rolling. The internet exploded instantly. LeBron fans immediately jumped into defense mode, as if they were guarding the rim in a Game 7 showdown. Comment sections turned into digital street fights. Suddenly, everyone remembered that Kyrie isn't just an ex-teammate. He's the guy with real, first-hand knowledge, the one holding receipts.
I would have loved to play with Kobe because I would have loved to have started my career with. I love Cleveland. Don't get me wrong. I'm appreciative of all the things that they've done for me, but at the same time, I would have loved to choose the franchise I wanted to go to. You know what I'm saying? I would have loved to develop next to some of my favorite players and some of my favorite people. Because being a young player, when you're on a team that's not winning a lot of games, there's a lot of bad habits that form. And that's what ended up happening to me when I was very young. I had a lot of bad habits. I was not a winner. I was not a loser.
Kyrie was courtside for everything that happened behind those closed doors in Cleveland. And now he's signaling that he's ready to reveal the full story to the world. Here's what makes this situation particularly dangerous. Kyrie wasn't angry when he said it. He wasn't shouting or emotional. He looked directly into the camera with a cold, calm expression and dropped a line that immediately sent shockwaves through every basketball group chat across the planet. He told viewers that once his playing career comes to an end, the real story about what happened with LeBron will finally be revealed. He delivered it with a "trust me" that felt heavy, like the words of someone who has been carrying a secret for far too long. This didn't sound like a joke. It sounded like a warning. Judging by how fast panic spread in the comments, LeBron's fan base already understands how messy this could get. So now, let's break down what Kyrie might actually be sitting on. Because the deeper you dig into his years in Cleveland, the messier the situation becomes. And this isn't just about when LeBron returned. It goes back even further than that.
Thinking about one player, it is kind of just weird. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not just one player that you have to promote. Like, we had like solid players on our team. When you're playing with somebody like Bron or somebody that you guys like to compare him to, it's a different animal. It's a different journey. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're automatically expected to be at the top of the charts, the top of the league. Every time you play with Bron, it's going to be a lot of media attention. It's going to be a lot of back and forth of narratives. It's going to be about a lot of spun narratives. It's going to be a lot of politics. It's going to be a lot of shit that a lot of people don't see in front of the camera. And for me, I was just a young person trying to figure it out. You know what I mean? It's not that I disliked playing with Bron at any time. It was just literally, it was my time to move on. And that's what people got to accept. They want a deeper, detailed dive in terms of what happened. It's like, it was my time to move on.
People often forget that Kyrie Irving never actually chose Cleveland. That's not throwing shade. It's just reality. When he was drafted first overall in 2011, he didn't get to pick his situation. The league assigned him to a franchise still stumbling after LeBron's departure to Miami. Kyrie arrived with unbelievable talent and handles nobody had ever seen before. Yet, he had to carry a roster with no direction and no real identity. Night after night, he dragged that team just to keep them competitive, even when the wins barely meant anything. Here's the part most people never knew. Kyrie recently admitted that those losing years created habits he didn't even want. He began playing in a selfish style because he had no choice. Nobody else on the roster could score. He became a one-man show out of survival, not ego. But just as Kyrie was starting to shake those habits and step into true leadership, everything changed. LeBron James announced he was returning to Cleveland. Just like that, Kyrie's entire trajectory was rerouted. Imagine being a 22-year-old rising star entering your fourth season, the moment when most players began becoming the face of their franchise. You fought through the ugly years, learned the hard lessons, and were finally ready to run your squad. Then the biggest name in basketball walks in and instantly takes over the entire operation. Your spotlight is gone. Your leadership role handed off, and your chance to grow is put on hold. maybe forever. That's exactly how Kyrie's world shifted in 2014. When you listen to how he describes that period, he never says it was entirely bad, and he never directly attacks LeBron. Yet he repeats one phrase that should make everyone pay attention. Playing with LeBron is a different animal, and not in a fun or inspiring way. It's the kind of shift where your whole world gets flipped unexpectedly, because being on LeBron's team doesn't just raise expectations, it warps them. Suddenly, you're not evaluated on your personal growth. You're judged on whether you fit into LeBron's system, whether you help him win, and whether you can handle being the second option while he controls the entire narrative. This is where things start to feel dark. LeBron didn't just bring talent back to Cleveland. He brought control. To fully understand that, you have to talk about Pat Riley. This is the part most people miss. Before LeBron went to Miami, he was gifted but raw. He could be emotional during games, shaky under pressure, and still learning how to lead at the highest level. Miami changed all of that. Under Pat Riley, LeBron spent 4 years learning discipline, structure, focus, and how to stay locked in when the pressure was intense. That version of LeBron was the sharpest, cleanest, and most calculated player we had ever seen. Here's the part Kyrie hints at, but most people miss. LeBron didn't just learn better basketball in Miami. He learned how to run the entire machine surrounding him. The media, the public image, the storylines, the messaging, everything. Pat Riley's system wasn't only about basketball. It was about building a brand that stays protected no matter what happens behind the scenes. So when LeBron returned to Cleveland, he didn't come back as the same player he left. He returned with a system he knew how to control. Kyrie had to live inside that system every single day. Kyrie has explained how everything around LeBron is locked down, filtered, and polished before it ever reaches the public. He has mentioned how things get twisted off camera, how decisions are made behind closed doors, and how the narrative always circles back to protecting one person. That's a heavy realization because it means LeBron didn't just return a better leader. He returned someone who knew how to shape every angle of his career, including how his teammates fit into his story. For Kyrie, watching the machine operate in real time stopped feeling like a partnership and started feeling like a system designed to keep him in the background while someone else collected all the spotlight. Then came the moment that should have rewritten everything. Game 7 of the 2016 NBA Finals. At 24 years old, Kyrie Irving stepped back over Steph Curry with 53 seconds remaining and delivered one of the coldest shots in basketball history. Bang! Cleveland finally won its first title in more than 50 years. The city erupted because Kyrie had ended generations of heartbreak in a single play. It should have been the defining moment of his career, the kind of shot replayed for eternity as an example of ice-cold nerves. But that's not what happened. Here's where Kyrie's frustration becomes clear, even without him raising his voice. He hits the championship-winning shot, and later when he turns on the television, all he sees is LeBron's block on Andre Iguodala looping endlessly, while Kyrie's game winner barely receives a mention. It felt like his moment had been erased right before his eyes. Then things took another turn. LeBron went on TV and claimed that championship confirmed him as the greatest player of all time. Not us, not we, not the team, just him. Kyrie averaged 27 points per game in that series, was the second best player overall, and hit the shot that won the title. Yet somehow, the story became all about LeBron's redemption, LeBron's journey, and LeBron's legacy. Kyrie became a footnote in his own story. That kind of oversight burns deep because it reveals the system around LeBron wasn't designed to celebrate the entire squad. It was designed to elevate one person every single time, regardless of what actually happened on the court. Things only got worse. Moved to the 2017 Finals. Kyrie drops 29 points per game, battling Kevin Durant possession by possession, while the Warriors dominate on all fronts. Durant outplays LeBron badly. Yet when Cleveland loses, the blame is spread everywhere except LeBron. Kyrie takes heat. Role players take heat. But LeBron remains protected, just like always. Then, less than a month after that loss, the unthinkable happens. Trade rumors start circulating about Kyrie Irving, the same player who delivered Cleveland its first championship in over 50 years. The player who carried massive weight in consecutive finals. Suddenly, he's being floated around as if he's the problem. Think about how wild that is. LeBron's inner circle begins whispering about moving on from Kyrie as though the 2016 title never happened. Fans jump in acting like front office experts, debating fake trades and who Cleveland could flip him for. It's chaos that's when Kyrie snapped. He demanded a trade because he wanted out. He became the first superstar in LeBron's era to take control of his career path and leave on his own terms. Every other star who played with LeBron either chose to join him willingly or quietly got pushed out when their role diminished. Dwayne Wade in his later years, Chris Bosh before his health issues, Kevin Love when his usage dipped. None of them left by choice. Kyrie did.